In this presentation, we will create a sales receipt and apply that sales receipt to a job. So as opposed to just simply creating the sales receipt for a customer, we will create it for a customer job within QuickBooks Pro 2020, QuickBooks Desktop 2020. Here we are in our Get Great Guitars file. We currently have the open windows open. You can open the open windows by selecting the view dropdown and selecting the open windows list. We're going to be working down here in the customer section. We will be creating a sales receipt as we have in the past. However, this time we'll be creating the sales receipt not simply for a customer, but for a job. So last time when we think about the sales receipt, note that it's very similar to an invoice. The invoice, however, means that accounts receivable will be going up, as opposed to the sales receipt, which we can think of the item that we basically give within the store. You could think of if someone brought a guitar up to us at the beginning of the cash register, we give them a sales receipt, which would simply record the increase in undeposited funds in our case and revenue. So that's the same kind of process here. We're creating the sales receipt, however, allocating it to job. So let's consider first what we mean by jobs. Let's remind ourselves we set up jobs last time. We could go to the customer center here, or we can go to the customer center by selecting the customers dropdown and the customer center. So this is going to be the customer center. You'll recall last time we had a job for Jones Guitars, which is this 3005, a job for Sam the Guitar Man. So this is going to be the two jobs that we'll be using. They are, of course, linked to a customer, but we're going to be tracking this information by the job that we will have. Now, what we're going to do here, and this is a practical way that jobs can be used oftentimes, is to have services that we provide. So we're going to provide services. We're going to track those services in particular jobs. This could help us in something like billing to track that information per job, especially if we have extended time periods of jobs to track for. So that's what we're going to do here. We're then going to go back to the Home tab, and we're just going to go through the same process of creating a sales receipt. So we will create the sales receipt. Now, when we select the job, you got to be a little bit careful, because when we select the job, if I hit the drop down, you can see the job here. I want to make sure to pick up the number and not the customer, or else it'll charge just to the customer, but not to the sub item, which is in essence the job. So you could also type it in like I would do here, which is 3005. So 3005. Actually, this one we want to go to the other job, which is 4002. We want it to go to 4002. So we'll pick up that one and we'll process through this. Now, the thing, what's a little bit tricky, notice if you have a long customer name, it looks like it's just simply going to the customer, and then the job is at the end after the colon. So just don't let that confuse you. This is going to the job, not just to the customer. If I select the drop down one more time, you'll see it's into the job, which is a subcategory of the customer. Okay, so if we go through this, then we're going to be saying that it's going to be cash. Let's keep it at the cash. We're going to say this is as of the 31st. Let's keep that. Sales number automatically populates. Looks good. And then we're going to pick the item, and we're going to have the guitar service. So we're doing some guitar service here. I'll type it in there. Guitar or partial service. We called it partial service. Not sure exactly what that is, but some kind of service item. So we're going to have the service item. It's going to be one of those. And so when we record this, then in terms of our financial statements, then we will have, as we do with any type of sales receipt, we've got an increase to the undeposited funds because we have the cash that will now be on hand that we haven't gone to the bank with yet. The other side then go into some type of revenue account. And then, so let's go ahead and take a look at that first. Notice again, there's no sales tax here because it's a service item. So the sales tax 0, we're at the 100. We don't have to deal with the inventory. In this case, we're not selling any of the guitars. This is a service item. So we're going to say save and close, save and close. Then we'll go up to our reports. So we're going to go to the reports drop down. Company and financial. We'll take a look at the balance sheet first. So we'll take a look at the balance sheet. And then we're going to, let's change the dates up top in the customized reports. Within customized reports, we're going to go to 01/01/20 to 12/31/20. January 1st, 2020 to December 31st, 2020. Okay. And then within this section, we're going to see that the undeposited funds have increased by the 100. So if I double click on the 100, then we have a lot of detail. The new increase down here with the 100. And if I increase the memo, notice it's the name, but it's also got the job 4002 within it. Then if I close this back out and we check out the other side, should be going to the income statement. We're going to go to the reports dropdown, otherwise known as the P&L or profit and loss statement. We're going to go to the company and financial and take a look at the profit and loss standard. Within the profit and loss standard, we'll change those dates once again to 01/01/20 to 12/31/20, January 1st to December 31st, 2020. This should be in the revenue, but it will be a service revenue as opposed to the merchandise sales. Double clicking the 308, we then see the 100 here. Double clicking on that, we get back to our sales receipt. Closing out of this and closing out of this. Now notice you can also run some other kind of reports that could be useful related to the jobs. Now that we have the jobs basically set up, if we go to the reports up top, you could go to reports down here such as jobs, time, mileage, and you can look at the job profitability detail, for example, and I'll let you explore some of these accounts more. We might go into more of these reports when we consider more of a job cost system. But if I was to select then the 4002 and we're going to say OK, then we can get some detail on this. We have the partial service item. We have no costs. We have the partial service items that'll give us the detail related to it. Closing this back out, you can also use the jobs to run reports. If I hit the reports up top and we look at, say, the profit and loss report, and we look at the profit and loss by job. So we can have a profit and loss by job. Once again, changing the dates from 01/01/20 to 12/31/20. Then you'll notice we have the customers here and we have the job activity that will be broken out. So it'll actually give that, more detailed activity by job. These get to be detailed, kind of long type of reports when you consider the jobs. They're going to, again, be very important for certain types of industries that will be job cost type systems typically. And then these reports become quite important. For other types of industries, they may not be so much important. So again, it's a specialty. We might get into the specialty at a later time and specialize in a job cost system. So now we'll do this again. So I'm going to go back to the Home tab. We're going to go back into the create the sales receipt. So we'll create sales receipt. And then we're going to have the customer job. This time we're going to use the other job, the 3005 job. So I could just type it in there, 3005. Once again, it picks up the Jones guitars, but the job is the kind of important thing after the colon there. And then we've got the cash is what we're going to be using. Same date. Everything looks good. I'm going to say that the item is going to be the partial service again. So I'm going to type in partial service. This time, let's say 2 to make it different in the quantity. It is a non-tax item, as we can see over here. Non-tax. We're not having any sales tax. In other words, $200. What's the effect on the financial statements? We're going to have an increase to the undeposited funds. Other side going to some type of revenue, non-inventory revenue, because we're selling a service item at this time. So we're going to go ahead and say save and close. Let's check that out. So if we go to the balance sheet, then we see in the undeposited funds, it should be increased. As we see here, there's the 200, the 100, and it was 0 before that. So we're back up to 300 there, closing this back out. Then the other side should be on the profit and loss. Let's check that out. Profit and loss report. Then that will be in the revenue, the service revenue, and within the service revenue. When we look at the detailed reports, then we can look at those detailed reports by job. If I was to go to the reports dropdown, job time, mileage, for example, job profitability detail, we can then go to the 4002 job and take a look at the job as it goes. And this helps us, of course, to track individual jobs. Could help us to track jobs that are longer type of jobs. So I'm going to close this back out, and we could take a look. You could explore other types of reports that would break out, in essence, by job.